Bonjour, Kinamagi and Ireland Adishnikas, and welcome to a Het Day edition of our Week at a Glance videos, this time featuring week 31. Per the normal, we'll begin in our Google Classroom. This is accessible to students using their at sagchipschool.net email addresses. They'll find contact information, today's newsletter, we'll talk about that in moments, our April breakfast and lunch menu, and even scrolling down much further, you can see that we have our March Spirit Days, which runs through tomorrow. Tomorrow's Pajama Day. And then even our March breakfast and lunch menu. I do clean these up every couple of weeks, but you can always find at least a week or two's worth of information. Many of these things are going to be sent home to you via the emails that I include with these links. So rumor is spring breaks next week. And I know some of you will be traveling, and I hope you have safe travels. And I look forward to hearing the great tales of the beach. And I know some of you will stick around Central Michigan and relax and enjoy some much needed downtime. Regardless, at some point, your student's going to tell you, I'm bored. And maybe it's a little too cold to make them go mow the lawn. Or maybe shovel snow, because, well, it sounds like that's in the forecast here for the beginning of break. But when they're bored, I have a solution. And it doesn't matter if you're in Florida or Michigan or Arizona or the Carolinas, wherever, because this will follow along with them. When I go to the classwork tab, I scroll down and you will find under the classroom resources a Padlet. And when you click here, it goes here. And already you know that it's beneficial to students to read for 20 minutes a day, whether they're on the beach or the couch. But they also have this that they could do online. And it has everything from culture and language to technology, ST math. It's a good way to encourage students to keep their brains sharp without, too much pressure. I do not send assignments home over break. That's a tradition that I am glad to have seen gone away, and everything is optional. So if you have a busy schedule, nothing in here is required. Strongly encouraged in the case of the 20 minutes a day, and encouraged in the form of learning at home. But let's be honest, there are other ways that students can learn without being on a device, like maybe 20 minutes of reading. Have I hinted it enough? Well, we will return on April 2nd. And on April 5th, that's Friday, we're on a field trip to the Chippewa Nature Center. We'll be engaged in the food chains and web session. And it's as students learn about producers, consumers, and decomposers as they form a sample food chain and examine skulls of the various animals. They then experience food webs in action by exploring field and forest ecosystems. Obviously, it's April, so it's more than likely to be chilly. Make sure your students dressed for conditions that day. If it's 70 degrees out and we go back up the roller coaster, by all means, maybe shorts and a hoodie works. If it's like today where it's 26 and rather breezy, hat, gloves, winter coat, boots may all be great ideas. When you're outside, it is possible that the ground could be damp, and therefore we don't necessarily recommend Crocs on some of these spots. Otherwise, they're going to get wet socks. So let's go to our newsletter. And you can see that I mentioned our spring break through April 2nd is our day back. They have spared me the number of pranks that would happen on April Fool's Day, so I appreciate that of our schedule makers. We still have to visit Shepherd Middle School, but as far as Mount Pleasant goes, we still have this information up here. I'll have Shepherd information on here soon enough. But regardless of which school you choose, the K-12 forms are still useful. Please consider sending them back to me. I will direct them to the correct people. And you'll have access to the resources available from our tutors and advocates. I talked about the field trip and asking if your student's bored. Cold weather clothing isn't just about the field trip. Please make sure students are dressed for the weather. We do go outside quite a bit. It's seldom where it's below 15 now with wind chill, so we will be outside and we want them comfortable. What are we learning? Well, in math, just this morning, we did the multiplying and dividing test. Now we will move ahead to measuring, with customary units being first. In language arts, we're continuing with selections related to the sciences, including Jonas Salk fossils and studying weird plants. Social studies, we're going to continue with the Revolutionary War. And in science, our new unit kicks off in full speed. Our first exploration will include what happens to the tarnish on a penny. Just a reminder on electronics. Students could bring them to school, but they should be off. They should not be using them during the day. Otherwise, you might get a phone call to come pick up said electronic. I'm more than happy to hold on to them, or they can have them off in their locker, or some choose to leave them with Miss Alyssa up front. Any of those will work. And you see our language corner. Finally, looking at our learning plan for this first week back. So not next week, the week after. The learning plan next week is going to be full of what you choose. But for the week 31, you can kind of see what our plan is, and you can see that there's a few subjects we won't do during our field trips. I hope everyone has a wonderful week off. If you have any questions about academics, please reach out to me at mireland@sagchip.org or mireland@sagchipschool.net. When we come back, you'll hear more information about parent-teacher conferences, which are currently scheduled for April 11th and 12th. I'll get you those schedules once they're to me. But if you have any questions, please reach out. And again, have a safe and wonderful holiday break. So without further ado, Minagijiga Minwa Pamapi.